Last March, my partner Troy and I went on our first week-long backpacking trip to Great Smoky Mountains National Park in North Carolina. The Smokies in the springtime are absolutely gorgeous. Trees are fluffy and green, budding with new life. Flowers are blooming in reds, yellows, and purples along the paths. The streams are glistening in the sunlight, powerfully moving from all the melted snow. And even the gray rocks seem to be brighter, happier, more alive. After one particularly long afternoon of hiking, the sun was starting to set along the horizon. We pulled out our headlamps because it was clear that we would be hiking the rest of the way to our campsite in the dark. We were lucky. We had large backpacks filled to the brim with food, supplies, and gear. I doubt that Hagar was as lucky. Hagar ran away from Sarai, who was dealing harshly with her. Packing sufficiently and getting away quickly don't usually go hand in hand. I wonder if Hagar was scared, carrying a child inside of her, wandering in the wilderness. Did she have a map? Did she have enough food and water? I was certainly scared as the sun was setting and as we marched onwards in the wilderness. I had a headlamp around my head, food and water in my backpack, and my partner hiking in front of me, and I was still imagining the worst. A bear walking in my path, hungry for 2 unsuspecting seminary students. I was looking left and right, making sure that we were indeed alone in the woods. I wonder if Hagar did the same, making sure she wasn't being followed by a still angry Sarai or a completely furious Abram. I wonder if Hagar was absolutely startled when she was approached by the angel of the Lord who found her by a spring of water. Thankfully, this angel didn't want to eat Hagar like the bear in my imagination wanted to eat me. God appeared on the scene in the form of an angelic messenger on behalf of an oppressed person, Hagar. The messenger is God in human form. Hagar explains to the angel that she is running away from Sarai. Hagar is focused on her past situation. The angel responds by focusing on the future, telling Hagar to return to Abram and Sarai and to name her son Ishmael. Though Hagar runs away from Sarai's oppressive treatment, the solution proposed by God's messenger is for Hagar to return to and to submit to the harsh treatment. The thought of turning around for Hagar to a place where she was abused, and for Troy and I to trudge down the steep mountain we had just climbed, is unfathomable. It doesn't make sense. Perhaps y'all are like me and wish for a freer future for Hagar, one in which she's not subject to abuse or mistreatment. Salvation for Hagar seems to take the form of waiting for her son to grow, waiting for her situation to change. My situation in the wilderness was changing too. We approached a clearing in the woods and encountered a marvelous sight, a sunset along the Appalachian Mountains, splashing the valley with shades of yellow, purple, red, and orange. In the midst of our fear and uncertainty, we had encountered a vivid snapshot of the divine love and grace of God. Hagar recognized grace and love in God too, and she names the messenger El Roi, the God who sees me. Hagar knows that God sees and hears the afflicted. She can rest in the knowledge that God keeps promises. God is present with Hagar and draws her into conversation rather than reducing her to silence. God addresses Hagar by name and responds to her affliction by making promises to her, promises of a son who will be named Ishmael, who will be free, roving in the wilderness, and who will not be submissive to oppressive people like Sarai and Abram. The good news in this text is not returning to an abusive situation. but knowing and trusting that God will be with Hagar and with us no matter what. God is present with us in our wilderness situations, when we are unprepared and unsuspecting, when we are eager and ready, when we are somewhere in between. What is your name for God today? Perhaps it's El Roy, the God who sees me. Maybe it's Abba, Father, Creator, or friend. Maybe it's another name that's stirring on your heart. May we continue to search for God in the wilderness, eager to name God in new and unexpected ways. May we continue to be surprised by God's presence in our lives. May we continue to celebrate the presence of God in the wilderness of the world and in the wilderness of our hearts, forever and always. Amen.